I knew a while ago that we would end up here, for starters. I remember Danny probably, 5, 6 years ago going, oh yeah, man, she's the one.
Baby, if it's all the same to you, can we spend the night somewhere new? I'm getting tired of the way that the traffic moves. Getting tired of the trees and the long afternoons.
The two words that came to mind as I was thinking about this, right? I was thinking to myself, how do I describe you two? Now the first word is probably a little bit, it's not intuitive, but you know what it is? For me, it's courage, right? It takes a lot for us humans to step in to something, especially when all of culture says, this can't work, this won't happen, right? Courage.
On the other side, with some friends and a place to call our own. Some friends and a place to call home.
Since the beginning of our relationship, you have always felt like home to me. Someone who brings a sense of groundedness, calm, and peace into my life. Someone who creates a safe space for me to be me. A quick story. As most of us here know, in the summer of 2018, we moved to our current home and became residents of this beautiful city. While moving here, we received news that our belongings had been involved in a fire and we had lost everything. As emotions started to flow and the reality of our situation sunk in, Danny came over, hugged me, and quietly said one word: together.
One of my favorite things about Kelsey and Danny's relationship, and something that I admire most, has been their ability to choose each other over and over and over again, regardless of what's going on in their lives and what they faced.
You're not scared to have tough conversations. You're not scared to be honest. You're not scared to address the scary things. You're committed to working through things together versus sweeping them under the rug or pushing them down. You've worked through more in the last 8 years than many couples do in their whole relationships.
You think about how they're 1,000 miles away, and we get tickets, and we get telephones, and we get text, and all that. And then the second stage is like the towns, the cities, the villages in North America and Europe that they had to traverse. And then, the mountains of Utah, the streets of LA, the heat of Austin, right? And then the challenges of life's fire, right? You knew this was gonna come out, right? The challenges of life's fire, and I'm going, this is a beautiful, unheard love.
That moment has resonated with me for a long time, for several reasons. The most important being that in a situation like that, what else could you honestly say? But all we could do was sort through it together. So on this day, I promise you exactly that. I promise to go through this life together.
When I was searching for a framework to structure my vows, the advice was to start with a story about a particular moment. The moment we met, or the moment I fell in love with you, or the moment that I knew we were going to be together forever. It's a strange human impulse to trace a monumental decision back to a single turning point. And as with most relationship advice, I didn't find it particularly helpful to our story. I don't recall a particular moment where everything changed between us. No tectonic shift, no epiphany. What I do remember is when I was missing my front tooth for 9 months and you loved me all the same. I remember leaving the Field Museum in Chicago, walking 20 blocks in the pouring rain, and despite my soaking wet socks, wishing the day would never end. And I hate wet socks. I remember a hike in Salt Lake City, and you were all bundled up from the cold, and the sun was reflecting off the snow, lighting up your eyes, and I thought you were the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. But to me, these moments encapsulate what a marriage is. Having somebody by your side while you accumulate these little, seemingly insignificant moments that eventually add up to a deep, meaningful partnership. Having someone to grow, laugh, cry, and stumble your way through life with. Having someone to simply help you put one foot in front of the other on your toughest days. Having someone to love you despite 2,000 miles, despite missing teeth, despite all of one's quirks and misjudgments. And so I promise to be that person for you. And I vow not to count on the single moment that changes everything, but to collect all the mini moments, to pay attention and appreciate the small things we go through, because I know that these are what will endure in our memories and our hearts. I love you, baby.
By the power vested in me by the state of Texas. The great state of Texas. I now introduce to you for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. Coleman. You are now married. You may kiss.